Hey guys, for today's video I figured I'd do a little bit something different, and that is show you some of the paintings or artwork that I've done for video games over the years. So let's just get started right away here. This one here, these are on 8x10, a couple of them are on 8x10 cardboard boards for painting. And this one here is of Link from The Legend of Zelda. It's of course his cartoon version, or from the Game Boy Advance versions. What I did here was I actually used ink for the lines. I didn't use paint. For me, it's just easier to work with ink for the harsher, dark lines, and I think it comes out better just to have a little bit more control over it. I really like this one. I have another Link one right here. This is of the classic Link. This is on an 11x14 board, and the background is metallic gold, and it's of the classic Link. So let me just do a quick pan down here. This one I actually used ink as well, and I used the black India ink with the quill where you gotta dip it in the ink. Very dark, comes out really nice looking though. And if I get real close here, it should autofocus, you can see just how much better it looks when you use the black outlines instead of just leaving it plain paint. So I really like that added effect. And then of course on top I got the logo. I was trying to decide if I should have added in Legend of, but I figured I'd just leave it as Zelda. And of course the background is very shiny gold. This is another nice one. Change up the pace here a little bit. I got a pixel painting art of the Black Mage from Final Fantasy 1, or whatever you want to say from. But this one is from 1. The problem that I have with this one, and no artwork is ever perfect, but the blue paint that I use for his robe, as you can see, is way too dark. It's too hard to see the other details inside. I mean, from far away, very hard. Up close, much more easier to see. This one took me a while to do, because of all the pixels, you know. So this one was a little tough, harder than it looks, but I like this one so much as well. This one here is of a classic and pretty simple scene of Super Mario Bros. 1. I'm still not sure if this one's even finished. I think it could use a little bit more, maybe a cloud in the corner. But you can see here. This one, I really like the little Mario right there. That took a long time to paint. All the detail for that one little thing. I tried to make it look pixelated too. The problem I have with this one is I think I made my outlines here, you can see, a little bit too dark on the pipe. And this over here, I don't know, I should have made it pixelated, but I can always fix it or just do another one. This one here is a little different than my other paintings. This is of a Nintendo console, and the thing about this one is I laid on the paint very heavily. It's not, you know, it's not one or two coats. I took globs of paint and I just threw it on there. So that's why it looks very simple. It might look a little sloppy, but that's because, let me see if I can get close so you can see some of the texture. A lot of the creases in the system and everything, the paint was so thick that I just took the end of my brush. This is a tip that I kind of find out on myself, but I'm sure other people do it. I took the end of my brush and I used that to make the creases that you can see here in the system. So that's actually not paint, that's me scraping away at the paint to make that effect. I also kind of put the letters in there for Nintendo, a little hard to see there. And I really like this one actually. And a lot of the you know, the corners on it, I used the brush to the advantage so you can see the textures in there. Really cool, really simple. I like this one a lot. Now my final painting before I get to the other ones, which aren't paintings, which are not too many more, like 2 other ones, is this large painting of Okami that I did. This game was on PlayStation 2, and at the time I was just in love with it. So much in love that I just had to do this painting. Now this is on paper, and you can see it's getting a little wrinkled, which is why I put it in this frame to keep it protected. This one is the one that inspired me to use the ink on the other ones as well, because, you know, in Okami it's watercolor. This is not watercolor, this is paint. Let me stand back a little. But I used the black India ink for the outlines because Okami is in in watercolor and a lot of brush strokes. So this one, I kind of used that to my advantage. I actually did use a brush with the ink on parts here where you can kind of see how it fades with the black line. But other parts, like with her like little doodles there, or scribble lines, because a brush would be a little tough to do that with. Overall, I really like this one. I got it hanging up on my wall when you first walk in. Now, moving away from paintings. Oops, I'm sorry. Just knocked the camera silly. Moving away from paintings, my next one is actually a pastel. It's a little small, in a big frame, a little bit dramatic, of the original Klonoa. If you're familiar with that series on PlayStation 1, this is where it originated, but later moved on to Game Boy Advance. It's actually on the Wonder Swan, as well as PlayStation 2, and finally, as you might have known from my other videos, got announced for Wii as a remake. It's a pastel little portrait of Klonoa. I love Klonoa, so I love this piece. Pretty simple, but I like it. And it's pastel paper as well. That really helps a lot when doing anything with pastel pencils, I should say. This is pastel pencils. If you're into art, I highly recommend you pick up some pastel pencils. And the last one I'm going to show you real quick. I actually had to do this one for school. We had to do a still life, and me being the game person, you get home and you're like, what am I going to do a still life on? I don't have anything but gaming stuff. It's of a Xbox 360 controller. I don't know which way you want to hold it. You can hold it this way, this way, this way. The actual way that I drew it was like this, so I guess you can hold it like this. Now this, I used pastel pencils once again. No lead. This is all pastel, except for the shadow here. Actually, I lied, is lead. But a lot of the edges of the controller, because it is a white controller on a white piece of paper, it is white on white pastel pencil, as well as very faint sightings of blue for highlights and stuff. It was a little tough, a little challenging. The controller's not perfect. Like, I couldn't get in the details of, you know, the LB and all that stuff on the buttons. But overall, I'm very pleased with this one. Stand back with that. So, there you have it. Those are just some of the artworks I've done for video games over the years. And thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.